if you feel like your Pinterest account has been shadow banned, you're not getting the same views that you were getting before, Pinterest did just run an algorithm update. And so I wanted to wait and sort of see how my Pinterest account did after that. You guys know during the holiday time, I was up at 3 million monthly views, but I'm staying pretty steady around 1.5 million monthly views. And basically, I have told you guys I'm not a Pinterest expert. That's why I don't have like a course or anything like that. I just test things and I'm taking you through my journey with being able to use Pinterest to get traffic to my blog. And so I have always been testing out different things, and I didn't feel like I was shadow banned, but I did feel like my content wasn't going as far. And it was because I had a bunch of pins that were from early in my Pinterest journey back in May, June, July, before I had taken a Pinterest course and before I kind of knew what I was doing with Pinterest. And the pins that I were creating were not optimized. And those pins were dragging down my website. Now, you could find some of the flagged pins using a tool like this one, flaggedpins.com. It's free. It's pin clicks, so like Tony, and I saw it from somebody else on YouTube here named Jesse. And so you can always put in your Pinterest username and the email results and start to find some of your flagged pins. Or you can just go over manually and kind of, if they're randomly they all of a sudden have like 0, I would delete that pin. But another way to find them as well is going to the arrow here and going to the reports in violation center right here. And I have nothing to see here, but if there was something, you could see it here, any flagged pins or anything. So that's another way to find it. And then lastly, I just wanted to show you what happened when I deleted probably like 500 that were no longer serving my audience anymore. And I had this huge spike overnight. It did go back down to like my like daily, but it did spike right after I deleted a bunch of pins. So this is to say, do not be nervous or scared to delete pins or delete boards because it could be the thing that is knocking you down. I just also, and for me, it's not good enough to just test it on one. It's better to test it on a couple different Pinterest accounts. Now you can see this Pinterest account, I don't know what the heck is going on. To be fair, I've been neglecting it, but it has like spikes, like just things going on. I will eventually start doing well again for this Pinterest account, but for right now, I'm just kind of chill. But you can see here, I started to have like a like big, and I was like, I don't know what's really going on. And I think this was right after the Pinterest algorithm change. And so again, I had a bunch of pins that were not optimized properly. So I deleted them and then had this huge spike, and then it kind of went down again, but now I'm settling around like an amount again. So, and I haven't posted on this Pinterest account in like months or weeks or whatever. So I am very much neglecting this one, but I just wanted to show you that those old pins can very much hold you back in your progress. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you how you can go about deleting old pins that you didn't properly optimize, that are shadow banned. The Pinterest algorithm didn't pick it up properly. Like I have some pins that when I have my blog post that does really well, that talks about companies that are scams. And on it, love it is like companies are scams. And the word scam is obviously a flagged Pinterest word. And so I was stupidly not really even thinking that that would be flagged on Pinterest. And I had a bunch of pins that said, hey, avoid these companies because they will scam you, so that people could watch out for it and not be scammed. But then it also meant that my pin was getting flagged because obviously Pinterest doesn't want to advertise scamming content, which obviously makes sense. And so I had to delete all of my pins that had to do with that word in it because it's going to be flagged by Pinterest. And I just to go through and delete a bunch of pins. Now, manually going through and clicking on pins and deleting them is way too time consuming. So I'm going to show you exactly how to do it in like a bit of a quicker way. So let's say I want to go to just this board randomly, home office setup ideas. And I'm going to open it in 2 different tabs. Now, this is obviously a lot easier if you do it on 2 different screens, but because I'm screen sharing, I can't do that. So I'm going to just show you it on one screen. So basically what I'm doing is I'm having both of these open on the same screen. Ooh, I need to refresh these because I had already deleted a bunch of these pins. So what you're going to do is I'm going to click on organize for this one. And the reason why I have this open in 2 screens is because when you are in organize, you can't see the analytics for it, but you can see the regular analytics in the other screen. So I'm going to scroll down to the very bottom when I didn't know how to properly optimize pins. And those ones obviously need to be deleted, and like we'll see the analytics for them for how bad some of the pins are, because so that we can kind of as it goes, and we can choose to delete whichever pins are no longer servicing our Pinterest audience anymore, and we don't want them dragging down our analytics. So I'm going to not only go on analytics, like go off of analytics, I'm also going to go off of really ugly pins that I designed before that I no longer like the look of. Like for this one's dumb. That's not really a very good Pinterest picture. I'm not going to delete these ones because it's got like 2000 and all of that. This one's a good one. But basically, we're just going to go through and just delete some of the pins that we no longer like and we no longer feel like we will get traction on. So I just also wanted to find ones that you can see randomly got shadow banned, and you'll be able to tell because, you know, your pins will have like 5,000. I mean, it's not that great, but it's got 3 pin clicks, which is good. But then you randomly have these ones that have 2, 6, 3. And those are pins that are likely not going to pick back up. And so I no longer want them on my feed anymore. So I'm going to delete these and work on making better pins. And this is also great to know what kind of pins don't work with your audience as well. So you can just delete those ones. And like this one, for instance, it like looks like it should be a fine pin, but it's got 0. So you just delete it. You need to get rid of it. And just like other ones that I just think are ugly and I no longer want on my page anymore. This one has 0. And basically, this is the easiest way to do it, by not having to go through and manually clicking on it like that. So I could delete all of these pins just by looking at it that way, instead of going in and seeing this one and then having to click on it and then go to edit pin and then delete. Instead, I think it's easier to just have to go to the board and click on organize and delete it that way. So once you do that, once you start deleting the pins that no longer service your Pinterest anymore, then you should see an uptick. You might, done something bad that's against Pinterest terms. They're likely going to ban your account or shadow ban everything that has to do with your account anyways. But if you just have some pins that, made the mistake like I did by using the keywords scam on Pinterest, which I cannot believe I did that. You can just go in and delete them, and that changes anything, and hopefully it does, and hopefully you can get your Pinterest back to where it was before. So if that was helpful, please subscribe and like this video, and I will see you in my next video.